everybody, and welcome to the Mantis video, whereupon we'll review the Mantis cards from 20 festivals. I am Jesse, that's
Everybody
Paul.
surfing
Surfing
you. Hi there.
USA. Let's start with the box. Yep, it's exactly the same. Moving on to...
Yeah, so new art. That was fun. Thanks.
Hooray, I didn't even read the flavor text.
I was. Were you surprised they brought Mantis back? So I gotta eat a little bit
No.
of crow. The two boxes I thought for sure they would change were Mantis because there's no way they're gonna leave one faction with a stronghold that's demonstrably more powerful in the start of the game than any other box. So I thought for sure Mantis would come back, but different. And I thought for sure Scorpion would not come back at all. And hey, check me out being completely wrong.
Scorpion, I was totally with you. The thing with Mantis, I thought that they were just going to cycle out
The two gold bits.
slave
Yeah.
pits, and jade mine, and keep the box. But then they just brought it all back.
It's like we
We
have no
can.
idea how they think.
Yeah.
And Scorpion is now oddly frustrating to interact with because, in the first turns against Scorpion, they'd always just name Ring of Void on turn one. Like after each cycle, that was their haha, maybe I got him sort of play. Now they do get to just name the building contract every single time and just annoy you. Like, do you play building contract? Did you want to play it in your first dynasty phase? Joke's on you, buddy.
It's so
And
annoying, man. I can't. I
nothing,
didn't even think about
nothing.
that, but yeah, it's just
Yep.
beyond
No,
obnoxious.
nothing says fun design like denying your opponent from playing his setup turn one cards. I don't even.
I
Yeah.
mean, we'll have a whole building. I don't want to talk about building contract right now. I
Okay.
hate that card. I don't. I don't want to go there.
Okay.
Let's talk about
Well,
Moshi Ikako. I love Moshi
not
Ikako.
not loyal and a 4 honor rec means that I'm probably gonna play in a lot more non Mantis decks than Mantis decks because check out my School of Wizardry, man. Like I'm going
Yeah,
to
no
school.
kidding. Going to school.
But even in just a normal straight old Mantis deck, like the full honor requirement is a little annoying, but you aren't gonna buy her as your first guy anyway.
She's
You
a
probably
terrible
ain't gonna
first guy.
buy
Oh, yeah,
her,
she's a
yeah,
miserably
as
bad
your
first guy.
second guy or your third guy. But as your fifth guy and all your other guys are Moshi, she's awesome. She's a force
Oh yeah.
multiplier. You can reserve in, you get the action to shoot things, and it's gonna be a big action once you have a couple of guys.
Yep.
Naval Shugenjo with high chi. She's really good. She's a good 11 gold cost personality, and I'm not sure I've said those words at all in the last 2 years.
Yeah, for sure. She does everything that we want her to do. Now, she's still not quite what I'm used to historically from 10, 11 gold guys. She's not a Shura.
Right.
But
She's still
let's
3
not.
force. I love that. No matter how at 15 force you can get up to 7, can be a dragon, but at 11 gold, no, 3 force. That's as high as you go.
That's right.
But they designed around it with the force multiplier effect with
Yep.
giving all the other Moshis.
So it helps, because there are some cheap Moshis. There's the one like the Fear 2 at 4 gold. There's a couple other
Yep.
ones that are they're cheapos. And sometimes these sorts of guys, they'll be out and they just kind of sit around and you wonder what they're doing. But no, they all get an extra force and they're great and it's awesome. And play her in your
Yep.
Mantis
If you're
Shugenja
playing
decks.
a Mantis Genja deck that has Moshi. Like, say, Moshi Kyrioko.
That's right. Five
So,
gold, Shug, 3 force. This is everything that you want in a Mantis Shugenja.
well, she's
Well,
not named,
she's not
but
enable.
everything else. She's the foundational piece, though. Like, if you're going to play Shugenja Mantis deck, you want to have a saturation of Shugenja, and she can put spells. She lets you diversify your threats. She's really good. And she's going to be important with the Thunder. She's the cheap personality Obata the Sensei, which we'll talk about when we get there.
I think this is a good place to stop and say that I think that Mantis is getting this Shugenja theme expanded, and this is going to be a breakout deck in 20 festivals. That
Yeah, I mean,
Mantis's
I've talked
box.
about it, the one that I felt was the most likely to do. I mean, they've got first off, she's got a dash. They've got a bunch of these dashes, so you get to run the House of Disgrace, Slave Pits kind of corrupt gold scheme.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a sensei that has a lot of power, or you've just got this stronghold that draws you the spells, and the spells are all really pushed.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other thunder spells that haven't really seen the light of day yet because there wasn't the right number of cards to support them. It's a good deck, and it's going to be at the top tables. Mantis has been well positioned since the start of Ivory with that introduction of their stronghold, and that stronghold's still really good.
Absolutely. So be look out for that. Like Naval Final Ruin is exactly what you think it is.
Yep.
So let's talk about Moshi Yokohime, who is going to be casting our Naval Final Ruins.
Right, and she's a Emperor Edition card, and I played her in Emperor Edition, which I mean, if you're good enough there. Now, obviously, she was 7 gold. She was reduced for 5, a little bit cheaper, but I'm happy to pay the full 7 price tag here because she's a Naval Shugenja, and I have some spells that I want to play.
Yeah,
She is competing for that other Naval unaligned Shugenja, but she's a dash, so I get my Corrupt Gold and bow a target enemy card without attachments. That's a real battle ability.
yeah, no kidding. So not only is she a Naval Shugenja, so not only is she going to Naval Final Ruin or Naval uh, something else,
Fire Kami's
Fire
Greed,
Kami's Greed or something, but she's also then going to
Pack
have
of the
another
Water.
printed battle action. Like that's just crazy. It's crazy how much
She's
better this
gonna.
action is than Fear too.
She's good enough. She's like in scout decks too. Like she's
Hmm.
gonna naval colonial conscripts and then bow things. Like she's gonna naval Dark Naga ambushers and then just bow stuff. She's a really good card.
Yeah, she's the backbone, and she's the reason why this Mantis Shugenja deck is going to be so good, and it's just going to be all over the place. We'll be featuring it in videos pretty much immediately once we start testing 20 festivals and showing you guys what we're up to. So look out for that. And let's talk about Sarasa. I do not think this guy makes the cut. Well, never mind. He's
Right.
naval.
No, the ninja. He was in the celestial decks, but he was never really played then. Um, it's a question of like you've invested 8 gold now in your personality, and then you have to invest in your spell. But there's a dichotomy of traits, right? So as naval, I want to get my spell down right away so that I can use it with naval.
Hmm.
But then the battle ability is this like, oh, I'll surprise it and use it from my hand. It's not bad, but the nature of that battle ability means it's only ever sort of on once, and I think a lot of the times I'd rather just put out my spell on Sarasa or some other Shugenja
Well,
to sort of make their targeting harder and activate my name.
you
He's
can
not bad, but I don't think he does enough, and I think he's 1 or 2 points of gold too expensive.
you can naval use his ability to attach the spell and then cast it
Sure,
on someone.
sure.
Ha 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 ha
Yeah,
ha ha
no.
ha.
Sure, sure.
No,
You're right.
you're right. He's very expensive, but he is 4 printed force, which isn't nothing,
Yeah,
and
and
he is naval.
unopposed, so you attach your burning spirit in battle, and it's like a pseudo bluff,
Yeah,
I guess.
I guess he.
It's not this the ability to attach things from your hand has been featured on many cards over the years. It's never been overpowered. It's never been great. It's been okay from time to
Yeah, I
time.
don't.
I don't know if here on Sarasa in Mantis is the place to shine,
I don't put
but
any
I,
stock into that ability though. Like
right.
this is the kind
Because
of
it's an
card that
ability that it's completely dependent on the card you're attaching and the situations in which you're attaching it. And
yeah,
it's not like attaching it is an open action now, so it's not like it's all that hard to get cards down and into play.
I evaluate this card entirely on the strength of his numbers and like eight gold for 4 force shoot naval Shugenja. I feel like we just talked about a 7 gold for a 3 force naval Shugenja. Now, granted, she's got an incredible battle action, and this guy does not.
Yep.
But I think this guy's good enough, and I think the naval trait is important enough that it'll make the cut.
Okay, I could see that. I think it's a card that I'll put in for a while and eventually just pull out.
I mean, this is Shugenja stuff. Like we could be talking about a deck that plays like Servitors of Stone, Ambush, Naval Kill You, Servitors my guy up sort of stuff.
That sounds fun.
So like there's a lot you can do with Shugenja and with Naval, and I think that I'm willing to pay a little bit of a premium to have the critical mass of Naval that I need in the deck.
Sure. And another dash, because yay, corrupt gold.
So now we're done. I think with the Shugenja. That was fun and
The
exciting. Now we're gonna
Soruchi
talk about
Arya,
boring
who
old
is
Saruchi.
man, Mantis were already at the top of the heap, and I just feel like they're getting good card after good card here. Ranged 4 attack is good.
Yeah,
It's force positive, but you're paying a little bit more for only a little bit of force. So you're really buying the ranged attack. But a ranged 4 attack is good. You already have a guy who does that at 6 gold, though. But what makes this guy so awesome is that if you're so big that I can't kill you with my ranged 4 attack, I bow you.
right.
That's pretty great. Also, take that, Turtle Shell. really solid card. Mantis players love Pew Pew decks, and this is probably the best Pew Pew card we'll see
This
for the arc.
this is a card that the Pew Pew decks really needed though, because when you
Yep.
do run into the big guy, like when you do get blown out by a turtle shell, you just lose the game on the spot. And there's
Right.
nothing more frustrating than that. So this guy lets you deal with those big units that you normally can't deal with. I'm not sure the decks that pack Turtle Shell aren't also packing some sort of straight tech, so like you're still gonna get got, but it at least gives you that hope. Like you make them have it as opposed to just rolling over and dying.
Yep. And I mean, I just think that an ability that can be turned on against those big unit decks, so you're not sitting there feeling that like fearless or that hopeless sense, where it's like, oh man,
Mm-hmm.
they've got the guy now with the awakened Naginata, and there's nothing I can do.
Yep. So this guy's excellent. It's a little bit expensive. I mean, 7 gold for 2 force is pretty silly. But range,
Yep.
we talked about in the lion video. I talked about a melee 4 being quote unquote enormous.
Yep.
And this is a melee 4 or a melee 3 being enormous. This is a melee 4, so I guess that would make it gargantuan is the next biggest
Yeah.
thing. Searchy Jinrai. I don't get this card. I guess it's like a throwback to the raid box. This is like a shout
Right,
out to
no,
raid.
so it was a Lotus era card that's awesome play at the time as a boxable guy who about to make range 3 attacks and range 3 attacks. The cost reduction effect is the cool thing. You can't shoot nothing anymore. You used to be able to, there was a minute where you could like shoot air and just make your guys cheaper. But it's a way to make bow your guy for a range 3 attack, which is a common thing in Mantis and pretty much just Mantis. But it's a common enough trait that it's not really all that interesting and engaging. If this guy was just 2-2 for 6, bow for range, he'd be okay, and
Mhm.
you'd probably try to play him right now in Gadaya Sensei decks, which you can't, and Gadaya Sensei's going away. But he would still see some amount of play just at that point. But you've got there's the 6 gold cost bow for range 3 who can also run himself home, right? It's like they want to spice up that ability and stat line a little bit. So this
Mhm.
guy's he's got a cost reduction effect,
Yeah, it's
which
very
is good.
cool.
And to a minimum of 3 doesn't matter because people aren't that cheap anymore.
Mm.
I don't know. Like, at some point, you need to have guys who have force,
Yeah,
but we've already talked about how range 3s are useful. And you shoot them and make your other guy cheaper, and then you can wave the Mantis your guy, and maybe shoot him again.
make him cheaper
I think that's
again.
pretty cool.
I was gonna have the same commentary. What you just sort of talked about force. My only beef with this deck is that it's like a bunch of overcosted 2 force guys, and so these range attacks are great, but they're not naval, and
So
they're not
I
bringing
think
anything to the table force wise. So I don't know how you're planning on winning
there's
the game with
there's
them.
a cool. I mean, I'm getting little combos of it. There's the 3, 4, 7 gold cost scout who, when he comes into play, makes a range 3 as an interrupt who's reserve. So like I can shoot a thing and reduce that guy's cost down to 4, and then buy my box to buy that guy, then make another range 3, and you know
Yeah,
he's
that's
a
really
setup
cool.
piece.
This guy interacts
He's a
really
setup
positively
piece
with
reserve.
reserve. You're right.
So I mean, there's some setup pieces there. I like this card. I'm not super excited about it. You'd rather see range 3s on. It's better in higher honor factions who get the tempo advantage going first. But it's a good card, as most cards from Lotus will be.
Okay, Yoritomo Juriken.
Here's So we've already started building some of our 20 festivals decks, and when I got the Mantis, the very first Mantis deck I made
Was
was Kensei.
Mantis Kensei, which
Uh,
played
I,
how many weapons, Paul?
a whopping 2 weapons, and
Two
those
weapons.
Sohai Onos are good as the naval man. Naval melee 4, totally legit. I was doing it to play In Stillness Forge of the Soul because I like In Stillness Forge of the Soul. I like a lot when my stronghold says bow to pay 3 gold to draw a card, and I get to play House of Disgraced, and I love that deck. I love this guy. This is just a really great card, I think.
I don't know that 2 weapons is correct. I'm not saying it is or isn't correct, but I do think that is the correct approach. Instilus Forge of Soul is the future of Mantis military. If you're not going with one of these pew pew decks or this Shugenja deck,
So,
if you just want a mid-rangey deck that plays some force-efficient guys, you get all of these naval Kensei, and then you get Instillness Forged to Soul, so you're always just drawing gas, gas, gas off your box, off your draw
but
step.
even not like even outside of our in stillness and sort of love of Kensei, like just completely eliminate the Kensei bit. Just 3-2 for 5 naval samurai with this battle ability of force reduction is good.
Yeah.
And that -3 force flavor bit about gauges and peasant weapons, like whatever, none of that is necessary. This is a really good card, right? People play the 5 gold cost 4 force naval samurai guy who does nothing. You know, you have to give him followers to be good. This guy's great with followers too, right? I mean, he's a really good card.
You're right. Just 5, yeah.
Great
Even
art,
without the
too. I
battle,
really
like
like
5 gold for 3 force naval, like all there. He's great. I give his stillness a try.
Yes, sir.
Yoritomo Kunikin, talking about force. This guy can be pretty big.
Yeah, he gets bigger when opposed, no pH. So those Shika Sensei decks have another cheap, I run Shiho and Keppo as my 2 sort of non-Mantis guys. And I don't think I would ever cut Shiho, but I could see a world where I play this guy instead of Keppo just to make it that much cheaper.
Not a scout, though.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, though, right? You can, in your deck with 22 people, you can have, like, 6 non-scouts. It's okay, Jesse, man. It's okay.
Fair enough. But yeah, 5 force for 4 gold in the ideal world. I don't know how many ports Mantis decks run these days. I think you're basically just having 3 Kabune ports if you're playing the corrupt gold scheme.
Deep Harbor.
Okay.
Maybe the 1, right?
But even just 4 gold
Lonely
for 3
Mojo.
force, 4 gold for 4 force, I don't know that you need to make it all the way to the promised land for this guy to not be an excellent inclusion in the deck.
Yep.
Yep.
So good cheap force. Sometimes that's enough. Other times it's not.
All right. First big unique.
Right. So Yoritomo Matsuo is actually a card. So this is the experienced version. This guy was in just Ivory base set, and he was in something before then. But who cares, right? And I actually played him, and he's the 3/4 Kensei with a 0 honor equip. And I hated the 0 because it interfered with my ability to play Planet Evidence, but I played him because it let me play Instillness Forge the Soul.
Yeah.
This guy, so he's grown up. He's doubled in cost. And what did he get for doubling in cost, Jesse? Do you recognize the stat lines? Do you know? He got 1 point of force.
Yeah.
10 more gold, 1 force, and a battle ability that's dependent on weapons. I'm a little salty. I think this guy's a huge miss. Like, if it was just destroy a target enemy attachment, would that have really been so much? Like, we can't. That's just beyond. I have to have a weapon, and it has to be unbowed.
Yeah.
Like, it's a little much for me. I'm a little salty. I think this guy is barely playable, and I don't think I'll play it.
If that 10 gold for 4 force. We just saw a 4 force guy that can be 4 force really easy without doing much work. We just argued about.
I'm the guy that wants to see 8, 9 in gold cost guys. I want to see 10 gold cost guys. I don't want to see that guy.
Well, we just spent a couple minutes arguing about whether or not an 8 gold for 4 force naval Shugenja with a battle ability was playable or not. And we've got this guy now. I think that tells the whole story right there.
Yep. Stop making these conditional destruction of attachment effects. Like, don't come on. Okay. On to, I think. Right. So I thought for a minute it might have been a bit of a hot take, but I don't think it's a hot take at all. I think this guy's insane. I think he's busted. I think he's just absolutely amazing. I think he's going to just annoy people to no end.
So
I'm way up. Give me all your copies. I'm collecting them. I think he's going to find a home, and so. The only thing that keeps him out of some decks is that you can't do the corrupt gold shenanigans stuff that I think a lot of people just really. But he's so cheap, and he's got decent stats for his so cheapness,
Yeah, two
and
fours.
just
That's not nothing.
up in a ranged attack by 2.
Is
I mean,
enormous.
scaling
All your
those
threes goes to
range threes
fives.
into fives, like
I'm
that's
playing him.
he's really good.
I'm playing him in
I'm
everything.
really
I'm playing him in Mantis Shugs. I'm having him hit my Steal the Candles Flames. Like I think
right.
he's
My
totally
first
ballistic.
thought was like, it's I gotta pay gold. There's an interrupt, and so now I'm bowing my thing to make a ranged attack, and then paying even more gold. But you know what? It doesn't matter because you're borrowing an expert archers and make it a ranged 5 attack,
Hmm.
and you're doing it from home. And that bit's really important because they can't. And you can even just straight assign with him. He doesn't bow for the ability. It's just gold, and Mantis will have gold when they attack. And I mean, I really envision a lot of decks where it's like you get your gold, you get Minoru and some other samurai guy, and you attack. And if they defend, it's just like I got a naval ranged 5, and that's gonna wreck some stuff.
Absolutely. I like it because it finally gives me something to do with Colonial Market. This was a card that
Sure.
I wanted to do things. The one that makes one gold for an action in play. I wanted to do something with that for a
Maybe
long, long time.
if you have 2 of them, then
Like bang,
sure.
you can get your range attack. Like the fact that it screws with their range attacks too is.
Yep.
And yeah,
Uh,
I'm gonna play him. Any deck that's running the Mantis Stronghold, I think I'm starting like with three of these guys.
you know what
I
I really love about it too? It makes people care about ranged attacks versus melee attacks, and that's always fun, right? Everybody wants that.
don't get me started, man. Do not, don't start me up.
Sorry.
Let's
I'm
talk
sorry.
about.
Should we talk about the flavor of this magistrate guy with money effect? Like, does he make them stronger? Is he buying steroids for the archers? Like, did he buy them like lessons?
I
Is he like
think
throwing the
he throws
gold
the
coins
coins.
into his opponent's
He's like,
eyes? Like, you can't hit me now. Take this gold. Ha!
yeah,
Try to shoot your bow and arrows into this.
yeah. He's like
So I don't get that at all. But cool
the
card.
ninja guy from Final Fantasy Shadow. He could get the coin one. You could like throw 999 coins at people and like take
Sure.
that. Or no, that was never mind.
That
I'm not
was
gonna out.
spin the
I'm
the
not gonna
gambler
out
guy.
myself. No, no, no. Don't worry about it. I'm not gonna out
Who
myself.
was it? You got to tell me who it is now. I
Well,
don't
no, I
know
think it
Shadow at
was.
all because I never waited for him. I always was like, I'm
You
gonna
always
wait
just
for
left. You
Shadow.
were that
Screw
guy.
you, man. The
Screw you.
thing's collapsing. I
I'm
gotta
getting out of
go.
here. There's a timer. No, I think I got that wrong. I think that was on
It
Yuffie
might
from
be a
Final Fantasy
chaos trigger,
VII.
maybe.
I don't know.
Okay.
Let's talk about Yoritomo Nintai.
Hey, naval Kensei guy with a terrible battle ability who's overcosted at 8 gold. Well, that was quick.
Is the art supposed to be a shout out to the original Yoritomo art?
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly the sort of Yoritomo pose, right? I don't know if it's. I mean, it's evocative of. I don't know if I want to say it's a shout out, but I mean, the Kama thing is Nintai. I
Sure,
mean, it's
sure.
got to be.
So yeah, overcosted,
The
underpowered, fear
students of
attacks
the
with.
half Naga Yoritomo Manoi are strange. And I guess that's supposed to be like a Naga E pose or something. Maybe it's a
I think
shout
it's
out
like
to Yoritomo Manoi.
she's wearing like scale leggings. All right, let's move on. When we
Okay.
start dissecting the art and the
Well,
flavor text,
right. So
things are going off the rails.
I
Actually,
feel like
it's a destructive comparison. Let's pop to the next card and then do a little bit of talk backwards because the next card is a 4 gold for 3/4 Naval Kensei. Okay,
yep.
so
No plus, no
for
mod. Everything you want.
for 4 extra gold, we get a single point of force and a fear 2. Like
We've
in
talked about in the span of like, and this is the rare too, by the way. This is your chase card.
right
Please enjoy.
and like even like popping back to the unique guy, Matsuo, like
Well, so
six extra
it's a
gold
fear 2, but it can be a fear 4 with a Gaijin or peasant weapon
or
plus a
fear
fear
5. Right,
5 if
yeah.
she's by herself. Yeah, okay.
But then
And it
this
goes
goes
back to
back.
my the fear stuff isn't real. Like stop. You
Well, the
know,
fear stuff is like
it's
Bawa guy isn't a bad effect, and I feel like whenever we
right,
bag
but
on
it's
fear,
often
it's not
Bao
good. It's just
follower
that
or Bao.
fear isn't Bawa guy. Fear is
Yep.
Bawa guy with a certain amount of force and no followers attached, which is not the same thing as Bawa guy. Because we got all hot and heavy about that first Shugenja that has Bao, a guy without attachments, and saying like, "Oh, this is awesome, this is awesome,"
Yep.
and like that's way better than Fear that doesn't care about your force. And you
Yep.
say, "Well, Jesse, spells protect you, items protect you, like whatever."
And the conditional nature of it, the conditional nature of like you have to have not just a weapon, but a Gaijin or peasant weapon, and you have to have less people, and yeah.
Plus, fear is a
So,
keyword, so it's interacted with. There's cards. There's courage cards exist, even if we haven't
or
played that heavily. So like fear is all
or
downside.
Kata.
So like
And on the other hand, a naval Kensai for 3 force for gold, no honor requirement. Hey, baby, welcome to all my future decks.
that's right. Would
You
you
can
like
just
some
go right.
candy? Because
You
I
can
have
go
some in
right
this
here next.
van. I want
You
you
can
to
go
get
right next there and
into
be
it.
buying the Nube Shiho with Shiko Sensei. Like it's a combo deck.
Wombo combo. I mean, yeah, Setsuko, and talking about her is great because you compare her to the guy we just looked at. You compare her to the 10 gold unique, and like, what did we get?
Yep.
We got one more force and nothing. This is what the deck wants. Just cheap
And that's
force naval done.
and we call these decks with these 3 force for focal pit. We call them swarm decks, but that's not even an accurate representation of it anymore. That's just what L5R military decks are. L5R military decks are built around 3 force personalities for 5 gold. If you can get the personalities at 3 force for 3 or 4 gold, you're above the force to gold ratio curve. And if you get any extra keywords like say naval and Kensei, you're really on your way.
Yep.
This is an alliance level target, by the way. Like Naval Kensai for 4 is, I can see
Yeah.
other factions reaching for this dude.
I mean, she should be the chase rare, honestly. Yoritomo Suhime. I remember this guy from Gold. I
Oriko,
remember the
yeah,
art from Gold Edition.
right. Oriko's been around. She was in, I think, Celestial as well. And yeah, she's been around. She does her thing.
5 gold for 4 force naval,
I
totally
think
awesome. And
I I
then
feel like I saw her in Samurai too. I think I did because I played her in Crane for a little while, and she is what she is. I don't have anything to say. Just above starting honor rack, can't play her with corrupt gold, and you already have the Samurai from Ivory Edition who just wins out every single Captain Hook. You've got Captain Hook, who's the exact same card with no honor rack, so you always play Captain Hook first. But this is the complement to Captain Hook, I guess, and maybe going forward she'll, maybe like a year from now when Captain Hook rotates out. But for now, I don't see
yeah,
any point to play this card.
it's like something that shooty decks might reach for if they want a guy that generates force. But I
Uh,
mean, I'm
Another
stretching.
gray. Are we supposed to excuse Mantis people for their crappy armor because they're on boats? Is that the thing? Like,
I
no one will
don't.
shoot the arrow to my midsection? Is that like,
Haha. Yeah, I don't.
it's
You know,
safe?
like, why would you wear armor on a boat in the first place? Like swimming, you can't do it in armor.
Yep.
Just
Okay.
feels poorly thought out. Yoritomo Waito.
So this was a personality that saw a lot of play. Iwata did. But that's because you could get him for 3 gold, right? When he came out in Death to Coat, so late Samurai, and then I think a lot of Celestial, certainly late Celestial as well, when they had that cheap dude. I don't know if I like him at like the actual 5 printed gold cost point.
Mm-hmm.
I can see a world in which I'm playing him. You make a ranged attack, and then you get force out of it. But I think I'm gonna find myself in the market for other personalities here. I think this is one of those
Yeah,
cards where that change in 2 gold sort of is really impactful.
I think this is a guy that gets hurt by the change, the shooting rules too, that you can't shoot nothing, get 2 force anymore.
Yep.
It means that that's a conditional force. Like if he was 5 force and you could attack with him and a guy and then shoot nothing, gain force, take the province unopposed, it'd be one thing. But the fact
Yep.
that that's a plus, that's an opposed plus 2 force bonus. It doesn't say it on the card, but the rules of the game work that way. So
There might be a place for him in decks. I just of all the I'm left cold to it. I mean, he's at the end of the day to me he's 3 force for 5 gold with some upside, and I think that's what we talked about. That's what good military decks. That's the basis for them. But I don't think the upside is significant enough for me.
I think the other thing to consider is that this guy is fighting for space with our economic guy that increases and decreases range attacks, because
Absolutely.
you can only run so many supporting cast members. So in a pew pew
Yep.
deck, I mean 3 slots that doesn't shoot is one thing. 6 is sort of starting to push it, and that's
Yeah, and
supposing there's nobody else in the game you want to run that doesn't have a ranged attack.
in my head, that's the argument. The other part is he doesn't have naval himself, so like I can't like if I could give him a naval ranged attack follower and make sure I get trigger out of him pretty quickly. He's close, and I won't fault someone for playing with him for a little while, but I think he'll always end up being pushed out of the decks.
All right. Last one. Let's talk about the Sensei. The Sensei is interesting because it's really, really good and also really terrible.
One of the most interesting Sensei, just because, first off, it's a limited action, of which there are very few in 20 festivals, right? There's like the Ring of Void, there's not much in terms of, like, here's a limited in this set. And then this is a type of a limited effect, which is incredibly uncommon. It's like a limited soft control effect. And, we don't have official sanction, right? Like, that was determined to be too good. We had to errata it. So we know how reticent they are to have these kinds of effects, and yet here it is in a Sensei form, which is really interesting to me.
It's a cool design. It's a nice use of limited and saying like this is an offensive ability, period.
Right.
And it's a really good
they could have made like a battle bow effect, but they didn't. They made it. They specifically made it as like a setup.
So it can set up some ambush stuff, and it sets up your attacks. The problem is that first line of text, man. I don't know if I can get over that, losing the card
Right.
draw.
So let's ignore it. That's a huge drawback. Let's focus on what the ability does. So, in its essence, a lot of the time, so you can bow your Thunder guy to bow their guy as a setup, and that will have value to bow your little guy to bow their big guy who they just bow without attachments. And that's very powerful, and we shouldn't ignore it. But I think a lot of the application might just be as a limited bow and attachment, like just bow and attachment.
Bow
That's
their Sohai Zono,
cool.
turn off the range attack, the melee attack.
Yeah, like
that's not for nothing.
Or bow their follower, bow their. Like that's just a I bow my Sensei, I bow your attachment is really good.
So the thing
and the fact that it can do other stuff is pretty impressive to me.
If this were another faction Sensei, like Spider, anybody else, I would be a lot more excited for it. I'm less excited out of Mantis because Mantis has naval as their faction keyword, and naval is already letting you sort of interact with, get rid of their big problematic cards and attachments before they're able to take an action. It's like basically this is what this is. You can take a battle action before the battle begins, and you can even play like hidden machinations and machinations to bow their guys so they can't Ring of Aram or do something to foil you off that. But then you're still just gonna go first action, do something anyway. And you can say, well, okay, you bow 2, it's better than bowing 1, obviously. But this kind of effect, to me, gets a little bit worse just because you already have this effect in any number of naval personalities.
Yeah, I agree. And I do think that right now we're sort of glossing over the requisite of needing to have a Thunder personality. I don't know if I'm always like there's the 5 gold cost Thunder Shugenja, but do you want what's the breakdown of like how many cheap expendable Thunder guys do I have just to trigger my Sensei? And there's the big loss, of course, losing that ability, that draw cards. That's a really hefty cost. So I can see both sides. I can see a situation where I love this Sensei and I'm playing it. It just feels really powerful and I'm doing really awesome stuff with it. I can also see a situation where I'm like, man, I played the Sensei and I hated it and I played the exact same deck, but just say no Sensei because I want to draw those fate cards.
And that's the thing.
But to me that's good sensei design. The fact that like I can envision decks where I like it, but maybe I can envision the same kind of deck thematically that's just a little bit better without the sensei. Like senseis to me don't have to just be like, oh, you're playing this theme. Here's your sensei to support it. Like I
No,
like that
I
there's a
agree.
little
I agree.
give and take.
It's just a great card. It's really powerful. I love it as an ambush setup component.
Oh wow, yeah, for sure.
It's
Ambush. That's our baby.
it's just that
Control. There's the card control. You could have like a
right.
couple
The
Thunder
card
guys.
control. You have a couple Thunder guys. You bow. You
Follow.
keep their guy bowed. It all goes back to me though the fact that the drawing ripping a card off the top is so powerful.
Well, so I mean, it's actually the question then becomes: is your average Fate card draw better than this ability?
Right.
Right? Like if I go draw a card and I draw Imperial Summons, that's strictly worse than the Sensei, right? Well, not
Right.
strictly worse, but often arguably worse.
Like
So it'll come down to a lot of deck construction and composition and what do you want.
the card, the card like the baseline card for me is always Unholy Strikes. Like if I pay 3 gold and draw Unholy Strike, what do I think?
Yep. Well, and I think so. The question then maybe is it's about the composition of your fate deck and losing the ability to draw your fate cards, and then maybe it's is your fate deck all just like payoff, straight powerful battle. These are cards I want to play in battle right now, or is it more like do you use the sensei as a setup thing? I think that to me the sensei is for one type of deck where you're using the ability as kind of a setup, not as the payoff.
Mm.
And if you're just want like if you're a payoff kind of deck, maybe you're just playing the stronghold straight up. It's an interesting card, and I'm gonna have to play with it some and really get into the format to
Yeah.
see it. But I even in straight military decks, they just bought a guy. They can't have an attachment until they take an action. So I mean, bow the guy you just bought is good. I think that's good.
Yeah, it's very very powerful. And I mean, I just poked over like Mantis has like Thunder guys. There's 2 4 gold Thunder Shugenjas.
Yep.
And then there's just like a whole mess of guys under six
And
gold that have
there's
the Thunder trait.
the sensei with Soul of Man or whatever the Kolat Bow effect and stuff like. I mean, there you can do other season. You can season your salad a little bit else, and it's a good sensei, and it will see
Absolutely.
play. And Mantis is a very well positioned faction.
Yep. So Mantis is already one of the top factions. I think maybe the best faction in Strict going
Right.
in.
So going in, they were close to the top. I'd still put them in. I had Mantis, Unicorn, Crane were still my top, and then I sort of had Dragon and Phoenix sort of in there, and then the other stuff at the bottom. Crane clearly lost a step. Their cards aren't as good, and their best themes didn't get it. I mean, Daiodoji Kinta into Daiodoji Ujuru into Daiodoji Tamataka is still probably the best thing you're doing at 6, 7, and 8 golds. That's a great curve. But the Scout military theme didn't get anything. So Crane sort of lose a step by failing to add.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that leaves Mantis and Unicorn obviously lost a lot because they don't get to start at 5 gold. So I think that leaves Mantis really well positioned just without just sort of in blanks, and then they got really good powerful stuff too.
Well, their decks. I mean, the Sheikah Sensei deck going into Strict was just really really good in the first place.
Yep.
And so now they just have more tools. They branched out. They got a lot of these cheap Kensei that supplement the Sheikah Sensei deck and make its fate draws, like smooth out its fate draws a little bit if you want to
They
go that
got
road, or just good
cool
efficient
cool
force.
new stuff. And it's interesting to me that their themes aren't like created out of whole cloth the way like Jesters is just this new thing, or that Beastmasters is just a new thing. Their new themes are Shugenja and Kensei, and both Shugenja and Kensei have pretty robust supportive card pools around them, so they just line up pretty well, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Guidance of War and Stones of Purity. Guidance in War is like now I can just give my guy a naval range 3 attack that he doesn't bow for.
Yeah.
Hey, that's pretty good.
That's playable. Yeah. Let's do it. And
Like,
plus, I
let's
run a
just
guy
give
that
you.
lets me increase it to a range 5. Like, okay,
Yep. So
this is real life. So I think Mantis is going to be one of the best factions. Definitely have it in your test gauntlet. Make sure that you're
Multiple decks too. There's
yeah,
gonna
yeah, yeah.
be. I
Make
mean,
sure you're playing like
they're they're in a crane-like spot where their stronghold is so broadly powerful, and their
mhm.
card pool now is broadly deep enough, and the economic advantages they just get to do a lot.
Yeah,
So
the sort of embarrassment of
everybody
riches.
gets to be on top at some point, I guess. And here's Mantis.
Hooray!
They've been on top a lot lately.
All right, guys, let us know what you think about Mantis. Which build you like the best? If you like like a wide swarmy Sika build, or like a more middle range big guys. If you like Shugenja, what do you
Together, together.
Shugenja? What do you think of the Sensei? What do you think of Instillness, Forge the Soul, and military decks? Let us know. Until next time, though, I'm Jesse and that's Paul, and this has been Enough Talk.